What's going on, y'all? We're back here, the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, aka the Whip Show, on 106.1 FM, WAKT Toledo's community radio station. And as I told y'all before, you know it, syndicated in the United Kingdom on CDFM. Once again, I want to thank Evan Ginsberg, author, for coming on the show. But we packed with the interviews today. Now, I was introduced to this young lady from Matt Classic. Promoter, pretty much runs a whole wrestling affiliate. And he said, Whip, you got to talk to my world champion. I say, well, I ain't got to do nothing. No, I'm messing with him, man. I love Matt, dog. Matt said this, and I said, well, you know what? Make the connection. And he did. So right now, I want to introduce to the world Miss Ava Brooks. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm doing really well, man. Thank you for joining the show.
Of
And
course.
Matt told me and I'm gonna tell you what he said behind the scenes. He said, "Whip, she's not only a great worker, she's so marketable. She has an amazing story." And I said, "Well, let's bring her in." So first things first, how old are you, and what got you into the world of professional wrestling?
So I am currently 18 years old. I got into the business as early as I could in my state. I'm from Pennsylvania, so
Okay.
you can't even wrestle on shows until you're 18. I got to debut on my 18th birthday last year, which was a surreal moment for me. But I went to a IWC show. I was 14 at the time, a couple months before I turned 15, and I saw um, Katie Arquette. I forget who she's wrestling, and I say that all the time, and I feel so bad. I'm gonna have to find the match so I actually know who she wrestled. But I was so just like drawn to her specifically in that match, with the way she moved, with the way she hit her moves, with the way she interacted with the crowd, everything about her. I was just like, oh my god, I want to do this. So a lot of the people that I either wrestle or I talk to about wrestling, they got into the business by watching WWE growing up, which I didn't really start watching um like WWE, AEW, all of that stuff until after I really got into indie wrestling. So I kind of like flipped,
Whoa, whoa,
but
whoa! I gotta cut you right here for a second. So, what made you even go to an indie show in the first place? Then, if you weren't really following WWE and AEW yet?
so my family has been big into wrestling, and it wasn't like it was never on the TV.
Okay.
My brother, he's going to be 14, I think. That might be really bad. Oh my gosh. But um he knows so much about wrestling. He always has something wrestling related on, and he wants to be a wrestler too. So, but he still has a while until he can start training. Um so like to me, he's the definition of like growing up on wrestling. He has so many figures, they're all over the house. Our cats try to play with them all the time. It's the funniest thing. But I was actually, so during COVID I had switched from my public school to online learning. And when I quit public school, I quit all of my school athletics, which I had been doing since first grade. So I've been an athlete my whole life. Um and then once I quit all that, I'm like, I am so bored. Like I need something to do. So we started going to this gym, like a half hour away from my house, and they had boxing classes, they had kickboxing classes, they had MMA classes, they had amateur wrestling classes. I was like, sign me up for all of them. I want to do all of them. So I did, and I wrestled for 6 months, and I was in the middle of training for freestyle in the summer,
Mhm.
and I ended up breaking my hand. So I was out for a good 4 to 5 months. So in that time, we had a lot of extra free time because we weren't going to tournaments on the weekends because my brother did amateur wrestling from like preschool to second grade. Um, so we were always at wrestling tournaments, but now we had all this free time. There was Imagine in Altoona that started in like 2019, I think it was. So we started going out there. We went, then we went to IWC, and that's when I saw Katie, and then I was like, I want to do this. My mom was like, what? She was like, you are not the person that I expected to want to get into this because, especially whenever it was like the Prime Divas era, my mom, I think she tried to keep me away from it a lot because it wasn't more so. looking at the women's wrestlers for their ability to wrestle. It was more so looks and how their body looked, stuff like that.
Right.
She didn't want me to think that that was normal, I guess. Um, so, and whenever I was in public school, I wanted to do amateur wrestling, but obviously at that time there was no girls sanctioned
Right.
PIAA wrestling for girls until now. So I would have been wrestling the guys. My mom really didn't want me doing that because of how young I was. Um, so yeah, and then I was like, I want to start training, and she was like, I'm gonna have a stroke. And I was like, you'll be fine.
Well, that's an awesome story right there, man. So obviously you had your first match, and I like to hear that because I know you heard of wrestlers like Izzy, who was a
Mm-hmm.
fan for years, and now she's on Busted Open Radio. She's wrestling all over the world. So with stuff like that, who are some of your inspirations in the business right now?
Um, on like my level, so like the indie circuit, I'd say Katie. Well, I think she'll always be my number one inspiration for what I do. Um, she helps me so much, and I love her for that. We're super close, and I could not say anything better about her. Um, let's see who else. JC Storm. She's helped me a lot too with figuring out just storylines and kind of like who I am. Like when I remember whenever we had wrestled back in January, she asked me a lot of questions and I was kind of taken aback because I didn't know the answers to them, but then I figured them out. But she's helped me a lot. Um, watching like Danny Moe and Zoe Sky in the ring, I definitely look up to them a lot. Those are probably my solid 4 right now. The Page sisters at NWA, I love watching them. I'd love to wrestle them at some point. And then for like higher, I'd say, I'd say like Jody Threat and Masha. Whenever I wrestled them, they were so sweet, so sweet. But yeah, they both told me that if I ever needed anything to reach out. And then like people I haven't gotten to talk to, I definitely say Rhea and Liv.
Okay.
And Tiffany Stratton. Those 3 are like crazy to me. Plus, there's Thea Hale. Thea Hale actually trained at where I train now, so it's like seeing the process. I know that it's possible as long as I work my ass off and do what I need to do.
That's what I like to hear right there, man. If I can hook you up and connect you with, I will. I met Liv. I got to interview Liv and Tiffany Stratton. Both of them are great people. And Nia
Oh,
Jax. Got to interview her as well. So if I can put the word in for you, I definitely will.
for
Now,
sure.
with that being said, you talked about your first match, but I know
Mhm.
you haven't had a 8-year career or anything like that yet. But have you had a
No.
match that you really were like, yo, that's the one I want everybody listening to this show to go check out right now on YouTube?
Most of my matches are behind a paywall, so I don't know what's on YouTube and what's not.
Well, if you were just to tell a match that you said that they would even have to, is worth paying for, what would be that match that you would want them to see that you've had?
Um, I definitely say I don't know if I can pick from these 4
Okay, go ahead.
because they're all kind of like I'm like, damn, because they were kind of like I'm they were kind of moments in which I realized that I'm actually doing what I love to do and what I've worked so hard for the past how many years I've been doing this. So obviously my debut match was crazy for me. It was on my 18th birthday and it was against Katie Arquette who got me into this in the first place. Um, and then I did a triple threat match up in Erie with Kalina Keene and Jody Threat. Loved that match. Then I did a steel cage match at NCW in Buffalo with Masha Slamovich and Zandra Lee. Loved that match. And oh my gosh. Oh, me and JC Storm at NCW. I actually got hurt halfway through that match, and I didn't realize it until the end. But I loved that match. There was just a rhythm to it that I think was really good, and we connected well.
I love to hear that. So you've already been traveling. You ain't just been in your state. All that's what's up. What all states have you traveled to so far to wrestle?
I've gone to obviously Pennsylvania is my home state. I've done a lot here. I do New York, which is NCW, and there's another promotion that I'm trying to work with up there if the dates align. West Virginia, and then I won my belt in North Carolina. So, yeah.
All right. So you
And
talked
then,
about. Oh, sorry.
yeah. So, and then at some point, I think it's later in the year, unless something else comes up, I'm going to be wrestling in Ohio. And then once I get my passport, hopefully, we're trying to get things worked out in Canada and the UK.
Ooh, wait, do y'all hear this right now? Girl is coming to y'all, man. Go ahead and book her all over the world. If you want her, you can get her. Come on, man. Woo, I love that. I love that, man. Now you talked about, and I'm not going to keep you all day, but you talked about winning the title.
Mm-hmm.
Now, many years ago, I was a former indie guy myself, and I know what it feels like, even in the indie world, to win a title. How did you feel when you came to the back with that championship? Or matter of fact, even when you went in the ring and you heard them people, how did that feel for you?
So it was, the whole day was really crazy because one, I faced Clara Carter, and I had met her before, but I didn't know if she was going to remember me. And I don't know if she did or not, but my old training school, I had met her and her husband because her husband wrestled on the show. But I was like 15 years old. No, I was 16 at least, but I'd like freshly turned 16. And I was like, oh, but I always overthink everything. So the first thing that came to my mind, I was like, what if she doesn't want to lose the belt to me? Like, what if she's like, this girl's too green? No, it's not going to work, whatever. But she's super sweet. I would work with her again a million times over. But so at first I'm told I'm going in as face. She's the heel. But then when I find out she hasn't been there in a long time, and they're going to turn me heel throughout the match.
Okay.
So I'm kind of pulling back the curtain a little bit. So they're like, we don't really know how the fans are going to react to her. We don't know if they're going to boo her or cheer her. Because last time she was there, everybody hated her so much, like booed her out of the building, everything else. So I come out, everyone's cheering for me, woohoo. And then she comes out and it's louder. And I remember talking to myself, like I'm pacing back and forth, and I'm like, oh, they're going to hate this. They're going to hate this so much. And I think if I wouldn't have turned heel, I probably would have cried in the ring because I was so, like, for a company to bring me down my very first time and trust me enough to take their championship home with me because I'm over 8 hours away, and trust me enough to, obviously it's our world belt, so I can defend it anywhere. So allowing them to trust me, to trust these promotions, to have these matches, putting the AIWF name out there, and having enough trust in me to protect the title at all costs, it meant a lot to me. So I was so nervous, and it was so cold. And I think, though, that the cold is the only reason I got through that, because I wasn't focusing so much on everything else.
Right.
But then I was sick for a week, and I was like, I got to wrestle next Saturday. What am I going to do? So I was pumping myself full of fluids and medicine, and I was good. Luckily, the match I had wasn't for, but it was a tag match, so I had breaks in and out. But it was the first match that I had to have water by the ring. It was rough.
She's a soldier, y'all. Y'all heard that. She still pushed through. Matter of fact, I know this is on the radio, but we do some YouTube clips and reels and everything. Show us the belt. Let us see it. You got it around you?
So I usually always have the belt right beside me. Hold on. I have to go get it. I usually have it right beside me, and no one has ever asked to see it.
Okay, cool. She's going to get the belt right now, y'all. So wait for it. we're going to do a big, uh, countdown to when she brings the belt back. Because, I mean, we got to see this, man. The girl is the AIWF Women's World Champion. And this is on par with NWA. Actually, I don't want to knock them. Might even be bigger than NWA with all the affiliates that they have in the AIWF.
Okay.
There it is. There it is.
Okay.
Oh my God. Did you guys see that? The AIWF Women's World Championship. And I was just telling them while you were gone about how many affiliates they have. How many are part of the AIWF?
I think we have 150 promotions over 49 countries.
Ooh,
So it's everywhere.
do you understand the magnitude of what that means? 150 promotions, and you
Yeah.
are the women's world champion. That's a lot of
That's
ladies coming for you, man.
Yeah, that's so whenever I fully realized that it was the world belt and not just like a women's belt, I was like, what? I low-key had a panic attack for a second, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. But it hasn't been, I feel like having the belt has helped me in a way of, one, being able to stick up for myself and be like, no, especially in these matches where it's for my belt, and whoever I'm wrestling is a vet to me. You're not gonna bully me into how we're gonna do the match, because one, it's my belt. Two, the company trusted me. They don't know you. And three, I'm not gonna do something that is going to jeopardize myself if I don't feel like it's safe for me to take, because then they don't have a women's champion. So
I like that you said that. I just interviewed last week Freedom Ramsey, who's part of the WWE ID program. He just got
okay.
signed, and I even told him, yes, you're supposed to be humble, but you also got to respect yourself in the ring too. So I'm glad what you're doing, just saying that, man. And I want to get into that real quick. Now that the WWE has programs like that, the WWE ID program, they're bringing people in from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
This probably, with you being the world champion right now, don't be surprised if it's not eyes on you right now. Are you ready for that?
I think if I would get the call, I feel like I'm already kicked into high gear right now, especially with having the belt, and we have all these affiliates. People come from all over the country to scout to go across. So like in September, we're having one of our Japan promoters come over, and he's going to be scouting and doing all of this stuff with the company. So I feel like I've definitely been able to deal with my nerves a lot more. If I know a recruiter or a scouter is in the arena that I'm wrestling in, it doesn't affect me as much as it used to. Um, so I definitely feel like it's helped. But I feel like if I get that call, even though I'm what I feel is my kicked into my high gear, I feel like it would become times 50. And even with like the next couple months, I feel like I might end up hitting that point anyway, because not that they're gonna like call me or anything, but just I want to improve my in-ring abilities for the level I'm at now. And I'm always trying to get better, so just gotta work 50 times harder than I already am.
I love to hear this, man. You guys, you heard her. You know what? Just book her. She's ready for the world, man. Now, before we get out of here, there is one last segment that I like to do. It's
Okay.
called the mark out moment. Now, obviously, as wrestlers, we're not supposed to go, oh my God, I can't believe this. But that
Okay.
moment that even you're like, okay, even though I'm a professional wrestler, now I'm in my profession, I'm still like, damn, I can't believe I'm in the ring with such and such, or I can't believe that all these fans are trying to get my autograph. And you almost revert back in your mind to that child. But
Mm-hmm.
have you had that one mark out moment so far? And what would you say it is? Let us in on it.
Uh, I feel like I've had two of these moments, and one was fairly recently. But I think the first time I ever had a mark out moment was whenever I got told that I was facing Jody Threat in that triple threat. because I am in school to be a medical assistant, and I found out the day before the show. So I'm in an accelerated program, and my program only goes Mondays and Wednesdays, and the show was Thursday.
Okay.
So we were leaving as soon as I was done with school. And the promoter messages me, and he's like, "Hey, this is who you're wrestling." And I was like, "What?" I literally like dropped my phone in the middle of class, and my teacher's like, "What's wrong?" Which I love my school. Like, they are so supportive of the belt. They're like, anytime they're mad at somebody, they're like, "Ava, just go body slam them or something." And it's so, but they're so supportive up there. But whenever I found out, so once we got up there, I was tape studying her the entire. So by the time she got there, I knew her whole move set. She was like telling us one of her combinations. I was like, "Yep," and then you German me, and she was like, "Yep." So that was probably the biggest markout moment I had wrestling wise. The second one would be more fan based, and that was last Friday. We had a charity show at Pitt Greensburg, and I got to do a 6-man tag. On the other team were 2 guys that I had watched at IWC, and then one was actually my friend. So that was really cool. And then I was teaming with one of my trainers and another one of my friends. So it was a crazy moment. We won, we're cheering all the stuff, and then it's another match, intermission, and all these fans were coming over, and there was this little kid who was at my debut, and his name's Maverick, and he's so cute. And I've been trying to get the top of his fan list forever. He just recently started coming up to see me. And at Pit Fight, his mom was like, "Yep, you're above everybody now." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, he is so cute." And I met so many cool people that day between the students and just the people that came out to watch the show. It was such a great time. I took a lot of pictures with people. It was probably the most fans that I've had come up to a table during a show. So it was really cool.
Love to hear this, man. Well, Ava, thank you for your time. Let the people know how they can follow you, your next upcoming shows, and everything before we get out of here. Go ahead.
So on Instagram, it's official Ava Brooks. You can look that up pretty much everywhere, and I'll come up. You'll see my face, and you'll be like, "Oh, I know her." If you can't for some reason, though, you can Google Ava Brooks professional wrestling, and it should just be my stuff that comes up. And if you go to the Instagram link, there's a link tree link in almost all of my bios that everything pops up. So it's super easy to find. And then as for bookings, I actually wrestle tomorrow in Skull Hill, PA at PCWA for my belt. So it'll be my second defense since I won it at the beginning of the month. And yeah.
Sweet.
So.
Well, like I said, I'm connected up here in the Michigan and Ohio area, so I'll definitely try to if I see anything. There, we got a couple really good promotions up there and across the water in Canada as well. My homegirl actually runs an all women's promotion, so might be something
Okay.
to take a look at as well. So, but
Yeah, for
Ava
sure.
Brooks, let me tell y'all one more time: the AIWF Women's World Champion. Make sure you follow her. You heard it. The girl is ready, man. And you guys stay locked there right here, the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders Podcast, aka the Whip Show on 106.1 FM, WAKT Toledo's community radio station. We'll be back.